When my 8-year-old grandson Kyle looked me straight in the eye and said in perfect English, "Grandpa, don't drink that coffee. Mom's trying to kill you," I nearly dropped the mug that was supposed to be my final drink. Let me back up and tell you how we got here. My name is Tyler Brooks. I'm 58 years old, and for the last 35 years, I worked my way up from floor sweeper to quality control supervisor at Patterson Manufacturing here in Akron, Ohio. Started when I was 23, fresh out of high school, carrying my lunch in a paper bag and dreaming of someday having my own office. Took me 15 years to make floor supervisor, another 10 to get into management, and the last 10 running quality control for the entire plant. I know how to spot defects before they leave the line. I know how to read warning signs in machinery before it breaks down. I can tell when someone's cutting corners or trying to slip substandard parts past inspection. But the biggest defect in my life was wearing a wedding ring, calling me dad, and living under my roof for the past 2 years. My son, Brandon, is 38 years old, and if I'm being honest, he's been disappointing me since he was old enough to hold a job. Not mean, not cruel, just weak. The kind of man who takes the easy way out, who borrows money he can't pay back, who married the first pretty girl, who paid attention to him without asking why a knockout like Melissa Wright would want anything to do with a part-time car salesman with a gambling problem. Melissa's 32, blonde, beautiful in that plastic way that looks expensive but feels cheap when you get too close. She moved into our house 2 years ago after she and Brandon got married in Vegas. Didn't even invite me to the wedding. Just called me afterwards asking if they could stay for a few weeks until they got on their feet. Those few weeks turned into 24 months of watching my home become a staging ground for whatever scheme she was cooking up next. She was always sweet to my face, always calling me dad in that sugary voice that made my teeth ache, always offering to help around the house. But I caught her going through my mail more than once, asking too many questions about my retirement accounts and being just a little too interested in my will. My wife Linda saw right through her from the start. Linda was smart, spent 30 years as a bookkeeper, had an eye for numbers and people who didn't add up right. She'd been married to me for 35 years, raised Brandon when he was actually worth raising, and she could smell trouble from a mile away. "That girl's up to something, Tyler," Linda would tell me while we sat on the back porch after dinner watching Kyle play in the yard. "She's mapping this house like she's planning to renovate it, but we both know she's never picked up a paintbrush in her life." Linda was keeping track of things. Bank statements that didn't quite balance, credit card bills for stuff we never bought, little inconsistencies that would have driven her crazy if she hadn't been so focused on documenting them. She had a whole folder in her desk drawer, organized like the evidence file she was building. That was 3 years ago, before Linda died. The official story is that Linda slipped on the basement stairs, hit her head, and died from the fall. I found her at the bottom of the steps when I came home from my Wednesday night bowling league, broken and cold on the concrete floor. The police said it looked like an accident. The stairs were old, there was a loose board on the 3rd step, and Linda had been doing laundry. Case closed. But Kyle saw something different. Kyle's my grandson, 8 years old now, smart as a whip and observant like his grandma. He's got these big brown eyes that take in everything. And before Linda died, he was always chattering away about school and baseball and whatever cartoon he was watching. Normal kid stuff. After Linda's funeral, Kyle stopped talking. Not a word for 3 years. The doctors called it selective mutism, said it was trauma from finding his grandmother dead. They recommended therapy, special schools, all kinds of expensive treatments that Melissa was very eager to pursue. Said it would be better for Kyle to go somewhere he could get professional help instead of staying with his grieving grandfather. I fought her on that. Kyle was staying with me, in his home where he belonged. Something about the way Melissa pushed for him to be sent away didn't sit right with me. Like she wanted him gone for reasons that had nothing to do with his well-being. So Kyle stayed quiet for 3 years, communicating through nods and hand gestures, writing notes when he absolutely had to. The school worked with him. I learned some basic sign language and we managed. He was still Kyle underneath the silence, still loved baseball, still helped me in the garage, still curled up next to me on Sunday afternoons to watch the Browns lose another game. But this Tuesday morning, everything changed. Brandon and Melissa had just left for a 2-week Caribbean cruise, their first vacation since Linda died. They'd been planning it for months, talking about how much they needed to get away, how the stress of the last few years had been so hard on them. They dumped Kyle on me like they always did when they wanted to play house without the responsibility of actually raising him. I was sitting in my recliner in the living room, looking at the coffee Melissa had prepared for me before they left. She'd been very specific about it, standing in my kitchen in her designer outfit with the luggage by the front door, making sure I understood how important this coffee routine was going to be. "Dad, this is a special blend, doctor. Roger Davis recommended for your blood pressure," she'd said. her manicured nails clicking against the ceramic mug as she handed it to me. "You've been having those dizzy spells lately, and he thinks this herbal mixture will help regulate your system while we're gone." Now, I don't have blood pressure problems. I've been healthy as a horse my whole life, passed my annual physical with flying colors, and haven't had a dizzy spell since I was 30 and worked a double shift in 95-degree heat. But Melissa always acted like I was 1 foot in the grave, constantly suggesting I needed more medication, more doctor visits, more monitoring of my health. She'd made a big show of measuring out the coffee grounds from this fancy glass jar she'd bought, explaining how it was a special blend of herbs and natural ingredients that would help me sleep better and keep my energy up during the day. The whole performance felt rehearsed, like she'd been practicing her lines. "Make sure you drink it every single morning while we're gone," she'd insisted, gripping my shoulder with those sharp fingernails. Consistency is key with natural remedies. Dr. Davis was very specific about the dosage and timing. Brandon had been standing by the front door, shifting his weight from foot to foot, sweating even though it was only 65 degrees in the house. He looked like a man with somewhere urgent to be, checking his watch every 30 seconds and avoiding eye contact with both me and Kyle. "We really need this vacation, Pops," he'd said, his voice tight and strained. "Things have been stressful lately. Work's been slow at the dealership and Melissa's been having trouble sleeping since Mom died." That was a load of garbage. I'd driven past the Honda dealership where Brandon supposedly worked part-time, and I'd seen him there maybe twice in the last 6 months. As for Melissa having trouble sleeping, I'd heard her on the phone at 2 a.m. plenty of nights, laughing and talking to someone in hushed tones that didn't sound like insomnia to me. But I'd kept my mouth shut, kissed them goodbye, and watched their taxi disappear down the street with 2 oversized suitcases that probably cost more than my monthly mortgage payment. Now it was just me and Kyle in the big house on Maple Street, the same house Linda and I had bought when Brandon was 10 years old. 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, finished basement where Linda used to do laundry, and I kept my workbench. The kind of solid middle-class home that used to mean something in this neighborhood before half the families moved away and the other half started struggling to keep up with the property taxes. I lifted the coffee mug to my lips, inhaling the steam that smelled wrong somehow, not bad, just off, metallic, maybe, with an underlying bitterness that reminded me of the industrial cleaners we used at the plant. I was about to take that first sip when Kyle moved. Not like a kid playing around or trying to get attention. Kyle launched himself off the couch where he'd been sitting quietly, diving across the living room like his life depended on stopping me from drinking that coffee. He slammed into my legs, nearly knocking me out of my recliner, his small hands grabbing for the mug with desperate urgency. "Hey there, buddy," I said, steadying myself and holding the coffee up out of his reach. "Careful now. This is hot," but Kyle wasn't playing. He was standing in front of me, breathing hard, his face flushed with exertion and something else, something that looked like fear. His big brown eyes were wide and focused, staring at me with an intensity I hadn't seen since before Linda died. And then he spoke. "Grandpa, don't drink that coffee. Mom's trying to kill you." The words hit me like a sledgehammer to the chest. Not just because of what he'd said, but because he'd said anything at all. Kyle hadn't spoken a word in 3 years. Not to his teachers, not to his doctors, not to me. But here he was standing in my living room, speaking in clear, perfect English about murder. I set the coffee mug down on the side table with hands that were suddenly shaking. "Kyle, what did you just say?" He looked toward the front door, checking to make sure his parents were really gone. Then back at me. When he spoke again, his voice was quiet but steady, like he'd been practicing these words for a long time. "She puts poison in your drinks. I've been watching her. Late at night, when you're asleep, she goes to the kitchen and mixes white powder into the coffee jar. She told Dad that if you drink it every day for 2 weeks, you'll have a heart attack and never wake up." My mind was racing, trying to process what I was hearing. Kyle could talk. Kyle had been listening. Kyle knew about a murder plot that I'd been completely blind to. "Son, why haven't you spoken before now? We've been worried sick about you." Kyle's face crumpled for a second, showing the scared little boy underneath the brave facade. "Because she told me what would happen if I ever made a sound. She said she'd send me away to a place where nobody loves me, where I'd never see you again. Just like she did to Grandma." The room started spinning around me. "What do you mean, like she did to Grandma?" Kyle took a deep breath, his small chest rising and falling as he gathered his courage. "Grandma didn't fall down the stairs. Grandpa. I saw everything." He walked over to the basement door, pointing down toward the steps where I'd found Linda's broken body 3 years ago. "I was hiding behind the washing machine because Mom and Grandma were yelling at each other. Grandma had papers in her hand, bank papers and stuff with Dad's name on them. She said she was going to show them to you that Dad had been stealing money." Kyle's voice got smaller, but he kept talking, like a dam had finally burst, and the words couldn't be stopped. Mom got really mad. She started screaming at Grandma, calling her names, saying she was a nosy old woman who should mind her own business. Grandma turned around to walk up the stairs, and that's when Mom pushed her. I felt the blood drain from my face, pushed her, hard, with both hands. Grandma tried to grab the railing, but she was holding those papers and she couldn't catch herself. I heard the sound when her head hit the concrete. My legs gave out and I collapsed back into my recliner, staring at my grandson who'd been carrying this terrible secret for 3 years. Linda hadn't fallen. She'd been murdered, and this little boy had witnessed the whole thing. What happened next, Kyle? Mom came down the stairs real slow. She stepped over Grandma and looked around until she found me behind the washing machine. She grabbed my face with her hands and squeezed really hard. She told me that if I ever said one word about what I saw, she'd kill you too and send me to an orphanage where bad kids go. Kyle was crying now, tears streaming down his cheeks, but his voice stayed strong. She said nobody would believe me anyway because I was just a stupid little kid, and that if I told anyone, she'd say I was lying because I was crazy. She made me promise to never talk again, and she said as long as I stayed quiet, you'd be safe. I pulled Kyle into my arms, holding him tight while my mind raced through the implications of what he'd just told me. Melissa had murdered my wife. She'd terrorized my grandson into silence, and now she was trying to finish the job by poisoning me. We're going to stop her, Kyle, I said. My voice steady even though my hands were shaking with rage. But first I need you to show me something. I stood up and walked over to the kitchen counter where that glass jar of special coffee blend was sitting. Kyle followed me, staying close like he was afraid to let me out of his sight. This is it, he said, pointing at the jar. She mixes the white powder in there when she thinks nobody's watching. She keeps the powder hidden in her makeup bag upstairs. I opened the jar and took a careful sniff. The smell that had seemed off before now seemed downright dangerous, metallic and bitter, like industrial chemicals mixed with regular coffee grounds. Kyle, I need to ask you something important. Do you trust me? He nodded without hesitation. Good, because we're going to play the most important game of our lives. We're going to catch the bad guys, but we need to be smart about it. Can you help me with that? For the first time in years, Kyle smiled a real smile. Like Spy Games. Exactly like Spy Games, you're going to be my partner, and together we're going to make sure Melissa never hurts anyone again. The first thing I did was call Nathan Pierce. Nathan had been my union representative for 15 years before he went to law school and started his own practice. He specialized in workers' compensation and employment law, but more importantly, he was the smartest, most stubborn man I knew when it came to fighting for working people against powerful enemies. Nathan arrived at my house within 2 hours, carrying a briefcase and wearing the same serious expression he used to get when the plant managers tried to screw us out of overtime pay. Jesus, Tyler, he said after I'd explained the situation. This is attempted murder. We need to call the police right now. We need evidence first, I told him. If we call the cops now, it's Kyle's word against hers. She'll say he's traumatized, unreliable, making things up. We need proof that'll stick in court. Nathan looked at Kyle, who was sitting on the couch holding a glass of real safe orange juice. Son, are you absolutely sure about what you saw? About your grandmother and the poison? Kyle nodded firmly. I've been watching her for 3 years. I know all her hiding places and all her secrets. Nathan opened his briefcase and pulled out a digital recorder. Kyle, I need you to tell me everything you remember about the night your grandmother died. Every detail you can think of. Can you do that? For the next hour, Kyle gave the most detailed, coherent account of a murder that I'd ever heard. He described the argument between Linda and Melissa, the bank documents Linda had found showing Brandon's unauthorized withdrawals from my retirement account, the sound of Linda's head hitting the concrete, and Melissa's threats to keep him quiet. Nathan recorded every word, asking careful questions to clarify details and timelines. By the time we were finished, we had a testimony that would make any prosecutor salivate. Now we need the physical evidence, Nathan said. Tyler, we're going to test that coffee, and we're going to set up surveillance in this house. When they come back from their cruise, we're going to catch Melissa red-handed. Nathan made some calls while Kyle and I sat at the kitchen table, planning our strategy. The first call was to his friend, Dr. Sarah Martinez at the county lab, asking her to run a toxicology screen on the coffee grounds as an emergency favor. The second call was to Detective Glenn Foster at the Akron Police Department. Glenn had worked patrol in our neighborhood for 10 years before making detective. He'd been to our house twice, once when someone broke into our garage and stole my tools, and once when Linda died. He was a good cop, thorough and fair, and he'd known our family long enough to take this seriously. Glenn's coming over tonight to hear Kyle's story and see the setup, Nathan explained. If the lab confirms poison in that coffee, we'll have enough for a warrant. But Tyler, I want to try something else too. What's that? I want to let Melissa think she's winning. Let her believe the poison is working. When she comes back from the cruise and sees you looking sick and confused, she'll get confident. Confident people make mistakes. The lab results came back the next morning. Dr. Martinez called Nathan directly, her voice tight with concern. The coffee grounds contain lethal doses of digitalis and warfarin. She reported, digitalis is extracted from foxglove plants. It causes heart arrhythmia and cardiac arrest in high doses. The warfarin is a blood thinner that would prevent clotting and make any internal bleeding difficult to stop. Whoever mixed this knew exactly what they were doing. Nathan hung up and looked at me grimly. This isn't some crime of passion, Tyler. This is premeditated murder with sophisticated knowledge of pharmacology. Melissa researched this, planned it, and executed it with precision. Detective Foster arrived that evening with a technician who helped us install hidden cameras throughout the house. We put one in the kitchen aimed at the coffee jar, one in the living room where I usually sat, and one in the hallway that covered the basement stairs where Linda had died. The cameras are motion-activated and audio-enabled, Foster explained. They'll record everything to a secure server. When Melissa comes back and tries to give you more poison, we'll have video evidence of attempted murder. Kyle was fascinated by the spy equipment, helping the technician test camera angles and asking intelligent questions about how the recording system worked. For a kid who'd been silent for 3 years, he was making up for lost time with curiosity and enthusiasm. Remember, I told him that night as I tucked him into bed, when your parents come home, you go back to being quiet around them. This is our secret until it's safe to tell everyone. Kyle nodded solemnly. I can do it, Grandpa. I've had lots of practice being quiet. I know you can, son. And Kyle? Yeah, I'm proud of you for being so brave. Your grandma would be proud too. He smiled and closed his eyes, and for the first time in 3 years, Kyle Brooks went to sleep without fear. Brandon and Melissa cut their cruise short on day 10. Dr. Campbell, my real family physician, had called them with Nathan's carefully scripted message about my rapid decline and refusal to seek medical attention. Nathan had coached him on exactly what to say to create the right level of urgency without triggering suspicion. I spent those 10 days perfecting my performance. Every morning, I'd pour the poison coffee down the kitchen sink and practice looking confused, weak, and disoriented. Kyle helped me rehearse, giggling as I pretended to forget his name or ask where Linda was. It would have been funny if it wasn't preparation for catching my son's wife trying to murder me. When I heard their taxi pull up outside, I was ready. I was sitting in my recliner, wrapped in an old blanket, staring at nothing with my mouth slightly open. Kyle was on the floor playing with blocks, silent as he'd been for 3 years, but his eyes were alert and focused. The front door burst open and Brandon rushed in, looking panicked and guilty in equal measure. Dad, are you okay? I turned my head slowly toward him, blinking, like I was having trouble focusing. Brandon, but you're supposed to be in school. Why are you so tall? Brandon's face went white. He dropped to his knees beside my chair, grabbing my hand. Dad, it's me. I'm grown up now. I'm 38 years old. I pulled my hand away, looking at him with confusion and a little fear. You're not Brandon. Brandon is my little boy. Where's my wife? I want Linda. Melissa walked in behind him and I watched her face carefully. She wasn't looking at me with concern or sadness. She was studying me like a scientist examining a successful experiment, checking off symptoms on some invisible list. How long has he been like this? She asked Brandon, but her eyes never left my face. I don't know. Dr. Campbell said he's been getting worse every day. He won't eat much, keeps asking for Mom, doesn't seem to recognize anyone. Melissa stepped closer, leaning down to look into my eyes. Dad, it's Melissa. Do you know who I am? I stared at her for a long moment, then my face brightened with recognition. You're the coffee lady. You make the special coffee that helps me sleep. She smiled then, a cold, satisfied smile that she thought I was too far gone to understand. That's right, Dad. I make your special coffee. Have you been drinking it every day, like I told you? Every morning, I mumbled, letting drool gather at the corner of my mouth. Makes me tired, though. Really tired. That's good, she said, standing up and turning to Brandon. The herbs are working exactly like Dr. Davis said they would. His system is responding to the treatment. Treatment. She called poisoning me a treatment. Over the next 2 days, I continued my performance while the hidden cameras captured everything. Melissa brought me my medicine every morning, watching carefully as I pretended to drink it. She asked leading questions about my confusion, documenting my supposed symptoms like a researcher collecting data. On the 3rd morning, she made her mistake. Kyle was sitting at the kitchen table when she prepared my coffee, and she thought he couldn't hear her phone conversation while she worked. But Kyle was recording everything on the smartphone Nathan had taught him to use. It's working perfectly. Melissa said into her phone, her back turned to Kyle. The old man doesn't even know what year it is. Dr. Davis says we can accelerate the timeline now. Instead of 2 weeks, we can probably finish this in the next few days with a higher dose. She paused, listening to whoever was on the other end. No, the kid can't hear me. He hasn't said a word in 3 years. Even if he could, who would believe a mute kid over a grieving family member? She hung up and turned around, not noticing Kyle quickly hide the phone under his placemat. That afternoon, while I was supposedly napping, Melissa went upstairs to her bedroom. Kyle crept up after her and watched through the crack in the door as she opened her makeup bag and pulled out a small vial of white powder. Using the phone Nathan had given him, Kyle filmed her measuring out a double dose of the poison and mixing it into fresh coffee grounds. The video was shaky, shot from a child's height, but it clearly showed Melissa preparing what she intended to be my final cup of coffee. That evening, Nathan and Detective Foster were waiting in an unmarked van down the street. The plan was simple. Let Melissa give me the overdose, record everything, then execute the arrest warrant Foster had obtained based on Kyle's testimony and the lab results. Melissa brought me the coffee just after sunset, her hands steadier than they'd been all week. She was confident now, ready to finish what she'd started. "Time for your evening medicine, Dad," she said sweetly. "This is a special batch. Dr. Davis says it should help you sleep much better tonight." I took the cup with shaking hands, just as I'd done for the past 3 days. But this time, instead of pretending to drink, I looked her straight in the eye. "You know, Melissa, this coffee has always tasted funny to me, almost like it's got something in it that shouldn't be there." She froze, suddenly uncertain. "What do you mean?" I stood up, no longer shaking, no longer confused. "I mean digitalis and warfarin. I mean you've been trying to poison me for 2 weeks. I mean you murdered my wife 3 years ago and terrorized my grandson into silence." The cup slipped from my hands and shattered on the hardwood floor, spilling the deadly coffee across the room. Melissa's mask finally dropped, revealing the cold killer underneath. "You can't prove anything, you senile old fool." "Actually, we can," Detective Foster said, walking through the front door with Nathan and 3 uniformed officers behind him. "We have video of you preparing the poison, audio recordings of your phone calls, and a very brave little boy who's ready to testify about what he saw you do to his grandmother." Kyle stepped out from behind me, no longer silent, no longer afraid. "I saw you kill Grandma," he said in his clear, strong voice. "And I've been recording everything you said and did for the past 3 days. Grandpa taught me how." Melissa looked around the room wildly, seeing the hidden cameras for the first time, realizing she'd been performing for an audience all along. "You have the right to remain silent," Foster said, pulling out his handcuffs. "But I don't think you'll be needing that right. We heard plenty." 6 months later, Melissa was sentenced to life in prison without parole for Linda's murder and attempted murder of me. Brandon got 15 years for being an accessory and for his role in the financial fraud that had started this whole nightmare. Kyle and I moved to a small house in Sarasota, Florida, where the coffee is always real, the sunshine is warm, and my grandson talks constantly about everything from baseball to science to the girl in his new class who he thinks might like him. Every morning, we sit on the back porch with our breakfast, and Kyle tells me about his dreams while I tell him stories about his grandmother. He's 9 now, confident and happy, with no shadows in his eyes. Sometimes people ask me how I could turn in my own son. The truth is, the son I raised would never have let his wife poison his father. That man died somewhere along the way, probably around the time he decided money was more important than family. What I saved was my grandson, and through him, the best parts of Linda and the best parts of our family. Kyle learned that silence can be dangerous, but truth will always win in the end. And I learned that sometimes the smallest voices carry the biggest courage. Trust your instincts, protect your family, and never underestimate a kid who's been watching and listening when everyone thinks he's lost his voice. Kyle saved my life, and I'll spend the rest of mine making sure he knows how proud I am of the man he's going to become. Sometimes the people who should protect you are the ones you need protection from, but blood doesn't make family. Loyalty does. The truth has a voice of its own, and it will find a way to speak even through the smallest and quietest among us when justice demands it.